everybody. Welcome to the summit. Did y'all have a good Thanksgiving? Yes, yum, all the food and all the turkey and all the goodness. We got that, and now it's Christmas time. We get to decorate, watch Hallmark Christmas movies. Does anybody else like Hallmark Christmas movies? Me too, and you always know how they're gonna end, right? They're all the same, but still at the very end, I'm like, oh, will the business girl get with the small town boy? I'm so excited. Like, you get excited every time, right? But it's so fun. I love it all. You may have noticed coming in, we got all our Christmas decorations up and out, on the lights on the stage, funness. There are photo ops out there on the patio in the lobby. Hey, photo ops are fun. Family cards, right? Christmas cards. But they're also a cool way to invite people to our Christmas services that we have coming up. You probably got an invite card on the way in too with a little elf on the shelf, so you can hand those out. We've got 5 different service times all throughout those 2 days. So December 21st and 22nd, we're doing our Christmas services both of those days, 5 different times to choose from. All you have to do is go to the website, christmasinkernersville.com, and RSVP for us. So whoever you're bringing, family and friends, let us know so we make sure that we have chairs for everybody, room for everybody, and all the services. The Christmas services, you guys, are going to be awesome. You're going to laugh. You're going to be like, oh, there might be a little nostalgia in there. I mean, it's going to be good times, so you don't want to miss it. Bring your crew with you. Now, who this week saw on social media just a few days ago the Summit Band's version of Oh Holy Night? Anybody see that? Cool, right? Yes, yay. It was very good. It was awesome. And so we are starting a brand new series called Oh Holy Night, where we're going to really unpack what each verse of the song Oh Holy Night means. It's cool. I don't think we've ever done anything like this before, where we've taken a song and really unpacked what it means to us. So Pastor Jonathan's going to talk about the first verse today. We're going to learn a lot together. But first, we're going to sing that version of Oh Holy Night with our band. So y'all stand up. Let's sing together.
The stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared, and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Was born. Led by the light of faith serenely beaming, with glowing hearts by his cradle we stand. He taught us to love one another. His law is love, and His gospel is peace. Chains shall He break, for the slave is our brother, and in His name all oppression shall cease. Sweet hymns of joy in grateful chorus raise we, then all within us praise His holy name. Christ is the Lord. Oh praise His name forever. His power and glory evermore will reign. Oh night divine. Oh night divine.
Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him. Christ the Lord. the chasm that lay between us. How high the mountain I could not climb. In desperation, I turned to heaven and spoke your name into the night. Then through the darkness, your loving kindness tore through the
shadows of my soul. The work is finished, the end is written. Jesus Christ, my living hope.
Who could imagine so great a mercy? What heart could fathom such boundless grace? The God of ages stepped down from glory to wear my sin and bear my shame. The cross has spoken. I am forgiven. The King of Kings calls me his own. Beautiful Savior, I'm yours forever. Jesus Christ, my living hope. Hallelujah, praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah, death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Then came the morning that sealed the promise. Come on, sing.
Your very body began to breathe.
Yes, it did.
Out of the silence, the roaring lion declared the grave has no claim on me.
Come on, we're gonna sing that again this morning and believe it. The morning that sealed the promise, your very body began to breathe. Out of the silence, the roaring lion declared the grave has no claim on me. Oh, Jesus, yours is the victory. Oh, hallelujah, praise the one who set me free. Sing hallelujah, death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Sing hallelujah, hallelujah, praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah, death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Jesus Christ, my living hope. Thank you, Father.
You guys can have a seat. You know, one of the things about Christmas that we love is that our hearts and our thoughts just seem to be directed to hope, like a living hope, like you guys just sang about. And one of the awesome things about being a part of the summit and all of us working together is that we get to extend and invite that hope out to the people in the community around us. And you do that all year long by the way you serve and the way you give and the way you give your time and your talents and how we partner with our agencies. We are able to meet needs in our community all year long and offer the hope of Jesus Christ through those physical needs. And so this year we wanted to do something just a little bit different than we have done in the past. We wanted to take that same hope and offer it to the entire world. And so we are going to be working with one of our international partners called Compassion International. We've been working with them for a while. And one of the things that we wanted to do is we wanted to give a kid a goat. Yeah, a goat. We're not kidding. We want you to give a kid a goat. And so from now, starting today, all the way through our Christmas services, we're going to ask you to give a kid a goat. And it's not dinner, it's not a pet, but it means so much more. It's economic stability for families that are in poverty that can change their future. And so if you want to know a little bit more about how does that actually work, just take a look at this video right here.
Anye ke hios kutoka wemini kenina maye kenofina kasku bagi kenini the maye brown school kevio.
So Compassion has a lot of ways that they are active in helping break the cycle of poverty for people all over the world. But we wanted to make it simple this year for us, and we chose one thing. We want you to give a kid a goat, and like I said, you can do it starting now all the way through our Christmas services. And the way that you do that is you text GOAT to 41411, or you can check out our app and our web. And you've just heard the story, one story, of the impact a goat can make on one family's life. But what we can't wait to see is when all of us together, the goat is $100, but you can give whatever God puts on your heart to give. Because what we're going to do is we're going to take everything, everyone watching online at all our locations, we're going to all pull our resources together, and we are going to impact hundreds of families all over the world with what you do with your gifts. And so we believe that we have the ability and the ability to make an impact, not just here in our community like we do all year long, but just take the hope of Jesus Christ and take it worldwide. And so join us in doing that this Christmas.
O Holy Night, one of the most beloved Christmas songs, Christmas carols. Year after year after year, I hear people say, that's my favorite. I love it when we sing this, and oh, it's so beautiful. For me, I love it, especially when I hear Bing sing it. You know, Bing, like LP vinyl Bing with the needle, scratchy. Oh yeah, that's good stuff. Oh Holy Night, classic. And so for the next 3 weeks, what we're going to do is hopefully help you see this song like you've never seen it before, so that you can see an angle of Christmas that you've never seen before. But let me give you the deets. That's details for those of you that are not in all the hip language. In southern France, 1843, two guys, one by the name of Placide Caput, how's my French, my Fringlish, that's French and English together. My Fringlish is pretty, Caput, and Adolphe Adam. This guy, Placide, he wrote the lyrics. He was a wine merchant and a poet. A little bit later, a guy named Adolphe Adam, classical composer, put music to this poetry. And then a few years after that, a guy by the name of John, that's better, right? That's easier for me anyway. John Dwight, who was a Unitarian minister, translated it from French into English, and now we have O Holy Night. You may not know, but you need to know, because it's just downright interesting that it is estimated that 250 children are born every minute in the world. That's the current going rate. 250 per minute. That is 4 per second if you do the math. That's a lot of pushing. That's a lot of, here comes the boy, here comes the girl. That's a lot of, it's cigar passing, whatever. That's a lot of kids, right? And with each birth, you have so much potential, so much possibility. Think about that. 4 every second. 4, 8, 16, 20, 24. Right there. I mean, just wow. So much potential, so much possibility with the birth of every child, specifically and immediately for that family. But depending upon the child, depending upon that boy or that girl that is born, the impact could be much broader than just one family, possibly a whole region, possibly a country. And in rare cases, you find a little boy or a little girl that grows up and their life impacts not just a family, not just a group of families or a region or a country, it impacts the entire world. But never, ever, never, ever has any birth, for a second, 250 a minute, never has any birth impacted the world like the birth of Jesus. I'm talking about possibility and potential on a cosmic scale, on a universal, eternal level. Because when Jesus was born, something shifted in the universe. When Jesus was born, there was a turning point in the narrative of history. It was a culmination of something completely new. And when you look at the lyrics, just in verse 1 alone of O Holy Night, you see this. Let's look at it together. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he, Jesus, appeared, and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks. I told you it was southern France, so these people were southerners. Yonder. I just ruined that song, didn't I? For yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. When I read these lyrics, it's so much. It is rich, so much. The word anticipation comes to mind. Anticipation not just of an individual or a group of people, but literally of the entire cosmos, the entire world, the whole universe looking on, anticipation. Because of the struggle of sin and suffering, the struggle and the tug of war of pain and the plight of people. And so when Jesus was born, that anticipation had a focal point. Another word comes to mind. Not just anticipation, but I think of the word awakening. Awakening. I read these lyrics, and the soul felt its worth. That's deep. That's rich. I'm not even sure if we fully comprehend what Placide Caput was meaning by the phrase, and the soul felt its worth. But I can imagine. Because without Jesus, our souls are void And only through his love and in his love and by his love do our souls find true worth, true meaning that is there all along. They come awake, they come alive to new purpose and meaning and value. Yeah, awakening like never before for the human soul when Jesus was born. But all of that said, I want to focus on two words for the rest of our time here. That when you understand these two words and how they fit together, and I understand these two words, we begin to understand the Christmas story and the Christmas narrative and the meaning behind all of it and the why behind all of it more than ever. And the two words are hope and new. Hope and new. And I want to begin by focusing on the word new, and then we'll get to hope. This whole idea of new is an interesting concept. Most people get real excited when they hear the word new because often they think something's going to be better, right? New and improved, or it's new and better than ever. You're going to see that a lot in commercials, right? And you hear about it a lot in the media. This is new, this is new. We like new smells and new sights and new things. But you might be shocked. Not everybody responds to new with positivity. Often people respond to things that are new with some varied responses. There's three basic responses to things that are new. People accept it, they're skeptical of it, or they just outright reject it. Right? There are those that accept anything new. They're early adapters. Maybe that's your personality. Man, if it's new, it's for you. It doesn't matter what it is. You want whatever the newest, the latest thing. If it's new, you're on it, man. You are there. Even if it doesn't pan out to be all that great, it was new, and that was exciting. You'll buy anything that's new. You're an early adapter. Then there's others of us, and I would fall into this category, would be a little skeptical. I'm not sure we need anything new. The old one's working just fine, and it's paid for. Right? Not sure we need something new. Why? What's up with the new stuff? Is it really going to do everything that they said to come in? It can't be all that. It can't be what it's correct. Come on. That's just hype. It can't be. And then there are those that take it a step further, and they just reject new things. They don't like new things. They don't want new things. They just reject it. It's kind of like what happened in 2004. You remember what happened in 2004? Most of you were alive. If not all of you were alive then, most of us, I'd say we were all pretty much there. Maybe a few exceptions here and there. 2004, something was introduced to our world that was entirely new. Not just an improved version of the old version, it was entirely new. And a guy by the name of Steve Jobs gave us the iPhone. The iPhone. The iPhone was not just a new, updated version of previous phones. It was an entirely new concept on phone. No one had seen anything quite like this before. It's called smartphone. The smartest our phones had gotten to that point was like the BlackBerry? Those things grow in bushes. How ancient is that? Right, you're like, what's that? I'm not quite sure. And so you get this iPhone. Now, immediately there were maybe some of you, I'm buying it. I'm paying $5,000 for it. Whatever they want, it's new. It's a smartphone. It does everything. It's going to change our world. And you're an early adapter. Now, there was a lot of us, like me, we were skeptical. Like, I'm not sure if I need a smartphone. My dumb phone works just fine. Right? Oh, no, you don't understand. It brings everything together, this iPhone. It's not just an improved phone. It's a whole new thing, and it does things that no phone has ever done. It's a whole new concept on phone. There's a GPS in this phone. I don't need GPS. There's one suction cup to the windshield of my car. I got one. Oh, you don't understand. You understand. You could take pictures with this phone like never. I don't need a phone that has a camera on it because I got a camera. It's right here in this bag. It's in my fanny pack, right? And so I got the phone. I got the camera thing, and the phone's somewhere else. I flip it, slide it. I don't need the. All right. Oh, you don't understand. You can surf the web. You can surf the internet. I've got a computer. I don't need to do all that on my, right? You see, and then there were some people that were just like, no, it's a fad. It ain't gonna last. I reject it, right? I'm waiting for the corded phones to come back. Some of you keep waiting. Not everybody responds to things that are new in the same way. Some people accept, some people are skeptic, some people reject. You may be surprised to know that the birth of Jesus was met with those same three categories. There were those, and it was a small number, a very small number, who accepted and celebrated his birth. In fact, in those first early days, you could probably name them all. Most of the world was skeptical. What? A Messiah? Now, in our lifetime? What? In Bethlehem? Come on. What? A manger? What? Mary? Joseph? We know Joseph. I grew up with Mary. What? That's not. And then there were those, way too many, who outright rejected that even could be possible. And here's why. Because Jesus' birth introduced something entirely new to the world. Completely and totally new. And some accepted, and some were skeptic, and others were rejected. But this should not have been a surprise, because this new thing that was brought to the world by the birth of Jesus was predicted hundreds of years before it happened. It was predicted with precise clarity, and it was predicted that it was going to be new, something new. Isaiah specifically was the prophet. And the prophets in the Old Testament spoke on behalf of God to the people of God. They didn't have Bibles like we do and no technology. And so the way God communicated back then is he would speak through prophets. And so the prophet Isaiah delivered this message for God to his people. For I'm about to do something new. I mean, that looks like tomorrow, right? I mean, when you read that, you're like, okay, like by 4:30? Okay, I'm about to do something new. See, I've already begun. Do you not see it? And so when they read this, I don't know what they thought, because I wasn't there. I don't know how this hit them, but they had no idea. I can promise you this, they had no idea just how big this was going to be and how new this new thing that God is referring to was going to be. Okay, see, up until that point, the way God related to mankind and the way mankind related to God, we've talked about this in previous series, but let me just give you a highlight. It was on a contractual basis. Basically, God had this arrangement with mankind. He says, if you do this, then I will do this. But if you don't do this, then I won't do this. If you will, I will. But if you don't, I won't. That's basically the relationship that God had with mankind. And it was governed by this thing that we've talked about many times called the law of Moses, the Mosaic law. 613 laws, to be exact. And in and of itself, it was a vast improvement to anything the world had seen up until that point. No civilization, no system, no government system was advanced as the law of Moses, even back then. So it was a vast improvement, but still there was a problem with the law of Moses. And it was a problem by design. Nobody could keep it. Nobody could do it. Not completely, not totally. I mean, you get what, let's say you're 10 laws in and you screw up number 11. That's a tough one. And then let's say you have a good run and you get to 413 and 414 trips you up every stinking time. And I'm oversimplifying, but you get the point. It's just not possible. And that was by design. God was trying to teach his people something. That the system he gave them, while it was very good for what it did and what it was, and an improvement to anything the world had seen up to that point, had flaws built in it for a purpose. And the purpose was to show them they were going to need something new, something different. And it all pointed ultimately to the birth of Jesus. You see, nobody could keep the law of Moses. And that was kind of the purpose. God wanted them to see, wait a second, we can't do this well enough. We can't do it fully. And so we need someone to save us from this system. We need someone to save us from ourselves. We need a Savior. We don't just need an improved version of the Old Testament law. We don't need just a, Mosaic Law 2.0. We need something entirely new. Enter the birth of Jesus into history. Which, by the way, all the Old Testament points to, all the prophets point to, and all the Mosaic Law was just a backstory to set us up to get to know Jesus. And so one day, when a guy named Joseph was overwhelmed having a hard time going to sleep because he's thinking about Mary, and Mary's having a baby, and I know I hate the dad, and the way people are talking, and it's just going to be bad for her and bad for our families, and maybe we should just split. Maybe we should just kind of do away with this thing and go our separate ways and keep it on the down low and keep it quiet out of respect to Mary and her family. He falls asleep, and God comes to him in his dream through an angel. Tells him this: Mary's going to have a son, Joseph, and you're to name him Jesus. For he will save his people from their sins. Wait a second. Wait, come again? Save his people from their sins? This is not just a normal birth announcement. This is not just, it's a boy, it's a girl, here are the cigars, right? I'm not sure what Jewish people passed out, but you know. This is different. He will save his people from their sins? Yeah. Then the angel goes on. All of this occurred to fulfill the Lord's message through his prophet. What prophet? Happens to be the same prophet Isaiah we were talking about just a few moments ago. When Isaiah said this, look, the virgin will conceive a child. She will give birth to a son. Talking about Mary, talking about Jesus. And they will call him Emmanuel, which means God is with us. See, Jesus' birth introduced something entirely and completely new to the world. Now, God is not just way out there somewhere. And if you go to the tabernacle or if you spend time in the temple, maybe you can get close enough. No. This is not just an improved version of that. This is something entirely different, something entirely new. Now, God is with us. And you can look at him and you can point to him, and his name is Jesus, and he's walking down the street and he's healing people and he's teaching and he's going to love people and he's going to give his life for the world. Now God is with us, feeling what we feel, seeing what we see, living what we live. Now God is no longer far away, distant, somewhere out there. Now God is with us, and the birth of Jesus introduced that new concept to the world. Entirely new. Jesus shows us who God is. Jesus shows us what God is like. Jesus helps us know the way of God and how we can get close to God. And it's not by just trying harder to keep the old system, the Mosaic law. No. This is a whole different system. That system got us to this point. Now it's done. Now it's over. Now there's a relationship basis of relating to God, not a contractual relationship to God. No longer is it, I will if you will, but if you don't, I won't. Now it's Jesus saying, I am God in flesh and bone, and I have come to save you. Just trust me. Just trust me. I got you. Come to me. I got you. Come to me. I'm here for you. See, that was entirely new. Completely turned the world upside down as they understood who God was and what God was about. Now, if you're sitting there going, well, that's interesting, but I don't know what's got to do with me. Just hang with me. Jesus' birth didn't just introduce something entirely new to the world. It's more specific than that. Jesus' birth introduced something entirely new for people in the world. New in me, new in you, new in us. So it wasn't just on a cosmic, universal level, it was on a personal level as well. A few decades after Jesus was born, a guy by the name of Paul is writing a letter to a group of Jesus followers in Corinth. And he hints and unpacks and gives a nod to what this new thing looks like on the inside of us that Jesus came to set into motion. Something entirely new. And Paul says this: if anyone's in Christ, if anyone's connected to Jesus, if anyone's connected to him, the new creation has come. What's he talking about? He talking about physical world? No. He's talking about something on the inside of us. The old is gone, the new is here. This is what people who are connected to Jesus will experience. Something called the new creation. Something that can be described as the old way, the old reality is fading away, and something new inside of us begins to happen. What Jesus is bringing is entirely new. Not just around the world, but in us. In fact, Jesus one day was talking to a Pharisee named Nicodemus, and John recorded their conversation. And in John chapter 3, Jesus described it like this: Nicodemus, it's going to be as if you are going to experience a new birth. You're going to be born again. That's how new, right? Doesn't get much newer than a birth, right? Here's a new person. And Jesus said, inside of you, it's going to be like you were born again. This new thing that I'm going to do, this is the new creation. It's a new reality. It means that people, because of Jesus, now live a whole new way. There's a new way of thinking. There's a new way of seeing the world. There's a new way of processing pain in the world. There's a new way of processing joy in the world. There's a new way of understanding both good and bad. There's a new way of making decisions. There's a new way of living life on a daily basis. It's all new. The old is gone. The new is here. It's a part of the new creation. And I know that's a concept. I get it. But nothing could be more real for those that are connected to Jesus. Okay, well, what's that got to do with me? Well, see, there's a second word. There's a second word that I want us to focus on. It's not just the new, but it's hope. It's the thrill of hope. Because when you have something new, what it does is inside this word new is the whole concept of hope, because that's what new things bring. I hope this new thing works better than the old thing. I hope this new thing brings a better experience than the old one. It's so much, and see, when you look at something that's new, you automatically start feeling hopeful. This is going to be better. This is going to be good. Hope is birthed out of the new. So Jesus' birth, this didn't just introduce something entirely new to the world. Jesus' birth introduced true hope. For people, for me, for you. Let me ask you a question. Do you need hope? Yes, you need hope. In fact, I don't know of a time in our world where people need hope more. In fact, I don't know of a time, in spite of all of our advances, in spite of all of our technology, in spite of all of the science and all of the things we know and we learn and we develop, I don't know of a time where people feel more hopeless. Because none of those things bring hope. But Jesus' birth and the presence of Jesus, now understanding that God is with us, that's entirely new. And that has within it the seeds of hope at a level we've never known it before. See, we're talking about what Christmas is really about, y'all. New and hope. Hang with me just for a couple more minutes. Let me talk about false hope. It's a phrase you hear people use, false hope. False hope is misplaced hope. Is a misplaced hope when you place your hope in a certain something. A certain something. Very important words. When we get our hopes on a specific outcome, that it's got to be a certain way, in a certain time, in a certain place, and it's got to look a certain way and smell a certain way and sound a certain way. That's hope that is misplaced. You know why? Because if you haven't figured this out, we can't control outcomes. We can't control outcomes. Like, here's an example. Let's say you're looking for a job and you need a job and you've got your hope on that job. You know, that job you've applied for that you have convinced yourself is the perfect job. It's the perfect money, the perfect time, the perfect hours, the perfect skill. It was made for you. You've got your hope in that job. And you put all your hope in that certain outcome, that certain something. But here's the problem with that. You may not get that job. And if you don't get that perfect job for you, what happens to your hope? It's dashed, isn't it? It falls. Then someone would say, oh, well, that was false hope. Or hope that was falsely misplaced on something that you could not guarantee. Now, hang with me. That's false hope. True hope is when you put your hope not in a certain something, but in the God who can do anything. So you're not putting your hope in a something, you're putting your hope in a someone. And when you put your hope in someone who can do anything, then anything is possible. So instead of looking at that job and going, my hope is in that job, my hope is in that job, that's the job, that's the job, that's the one. Now, see, that could be false, that could be misplaced. You may not get that job. Elevate your hope not to that some certain thing, but to someone who transcends all things, and it looks like this. My hope is in God. He may give me that job, but he may not. And if he doesn't, he's going to give me another job, because my hope is not in that job, because jobs will come and jobs will go. And I may or may not get that job. I'd like to have that job. I think that job would be good for me. But if I don't get that job, my hope happens to be in the one who controls all jobs, who can get me any job, who can provide for me in ways that that job never could. Do you see the difference between a false hope and a true hope? And that comes through Jesus. That comes from knowing him, being connected to him, understanding that I don't have to put my hope in a certain something. And for centuries, that's what God's people had done. And that's why so many of them missed it. They thought the Messiah was going to come in a certain way, in a certain thing, at a certain time, in a certain place. And even though he kind of told them along the way how it was going to go, it was going to be new, it was going to be different, they missed it. They missed it. Because see, true hope is not putting your faith in an outcome. True hope is putting your faith in the one who transcends all outcomes. Transcends all outcomes. And he can do anything in any time and in any place. And he does it in unexpected times and in unexpected places and in unexpected ways, and he uses unexpected people to do it. Now, we're going to come back to you in just a minute. We'll come back to how this impacts you in just a minute. But that's what the Christmas story proved. Unexpected. Bethlehem? No, not Bethlehem. That's the city of David. Now, Micah the prophet predicted that would happen. But they still missed it. No one saw that. No one saw it. And Mary? Come on, Mary. I went to high school with Mary. It's Mary. Joseph? Oh, no. Don't get me wrong. He's a great carpenter, but, not. Right? And a manger? What, did you hear that? Did you hear the manger? Now, kings don't come into the world in mangers. Shepherds, they were the welcoming band. They were the welcoming committee. No U2, no nothing, no Coldplay, nothing. No big lights. Just the shepherds. Unexpected ways, unexpected places, unexpected times, unexpected people. What's that got to do with me? Here it is. New and hope. Because Jesus came to introduce something entirely new to the world, and because that new brings us true hope. Hope not focused on a certain thing, it's got to be a certain way, but hope elevated to the one who transcends all things, with anything is possible, anything can happen with him, then that means you have hope. Because God is always doing something new. You're a part of the new creation. It is at work within you. And so let me just bring this home to your life with a question. I want you to think about your life. Where do you need hope? Where do you need something new from God? Because see, that's the real message of Christmas, right? That God's doing something new now, and it's about Jesus. And Jesus does something new in us. In fact, when we're connected to him, the old is gone, the new is here. We're a part of experiencing this new creation. And I know that's a concept, but when you start realizing it's a new way of thinking, now I have a new way of understanding the world. I don't understand everything, but what I am understanding is totally new from what I used to understand, and a new way of relating to people. Now it's not just, I'm going to give you what you gave me. Now there's this thing called love, and I'm experiencing grace and mercy and forgiveness and kindness. And what's this thing inside of me? It's the new creation. And no, I can't control the future, but I have my hope in the one who is in control of everything. And I don't always understand what happens, and I don't always agree with what I see. But my hope is in him, not a certain thing, not in a certain something, but a certain someone who transcends all things. That elevates your perspective. That motivates you. That gives you energy. So I don't know where you need hope. Maybe the better question is, where do you feel hopeless? Because wherever that is, God could do something new in that. God could do something new in that. And that's why you should have hope. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's your marriage. You're like, man, I feel hopeless in my marriage. Do you know that God can do a new thing in your marriage? He can. He does all the time for people just like you. Maybe it's a thing in your family, something with your parents, something with your children, something with a sibling. I need God to do something new here. I don't just need an improved version of what we've always done or way it's always been. I need something new because I feel hopeless. You should have hope. You can have hope. Christmas reminds us that we have hope because he's always doing something new. Maybe it is a job thing. I don't know. Maybe it's a mental, emotional thing. And you need God to do something new in your mind. You know, that's actually one of the things he said he would come to do, and that's renew our minds. Renew our minds. Renew our thinking. He can do it. He can do anything. You put your hope in the one who can make anything happen. And he just might do it. Maybe you just feel lost. Maybe you feel weary. Maybe you feel confused, and you just, God, I need you to do something new in my life. I need you to do something new in my life. Well, Jesus came to do something new in your life. It doesn't mean all your problems are going to go away. Problems come, problems go for everybody. But connected to him, in the middle of all your problems, he begins to birth something new inside of you. And it's one of those things you just have to experience it to understand it. You just have to experience it to get an eye on it, to be able to feel it, to be able to get a concept of what this means in your life. I don't know where you need hope. But wherever it is you need hope, that's where God can do something new. And it might be that God brings a new attitude or a new perspective or a new mindset, or maybe God gives you a new opportunity you didn't have before, or brings a new change in your life. Or, get this, do you need a new start? Maybe some of you just need a new start. You just need a whole new start. You need to hit reset. Well, God does this thing called forgive, and he's created this thing called forgiveness. Man, just specializes in creating new starts for people. And every day, get this. This will blow your mind right here. This. Every sunrise, written into the fabric of every sunrise, is the promise and the hope of a new day. A new day. You get 7 of them every single week. See, God's just full of new. He's full of new. And as we embrace Jesus, we discover the new creation inside of us. And I wish I could describe it more succinctly than that, but I'll just come back. Anything is possible. And that's what Christmas, as you celebrate Christmas, know, new and hope, new and hope, new and hope. And as you hear the songs and hear O Holy Night, new and hope. God, through Jesus, came to do something new in me, and that means I have hope. And discover what that means. Let's pray. Father, we join with the world in anticipation of the new thing you want to do in us through Jesus. May our souls be awakened to the new and be filled with hope that anything is possible with you. I don't know what people are facing, where they feel hopeless, but in those areas where they feel hopeless, that's where we need you to do something new, for the new creation to go to work and make us alive, to bring about a new birth of new ideas and new reality and new thinking and new living. And that brings hope. Means it's never too late It means it's never over. It means nothing's ever too far gone because you're a God of the new. And Jesus' birth reminds us that's what it's all about. And it's because of him. So I don't know where people need something new, where they need hope. But Father, may you meet them in that place. And as they celebrate Christmas in the next few weeks, may they be overwhelmed with the new thing and the hope that comes from you. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so next week we'll dive into verse 2. And then the next week we'll dive into verse 3. And when we're done, you should have a greater appreciation and love. This will become maybe your favorite Christmas carol, other than maybe like the most annoying one that you can't stop singing. I don't know what that is for you, but I heard one this week and it's just like, and I won't say it because I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm just like, if I hear this one more time, and it wasn't no holy night, but if I hear this one more time, right? So as you're listening to 99.5, right? or Delilah or whatever you listen to, you know, and they're playing all these things. When you hear A Holy Night Again, whether Bing is singing it or not, and if you haven't heard Bing sing it, you need to make sure you treat yourself to that. May these lyrics jump out to you and give you such encouragement. Hey, right before I let you go, I want you to reach up into the seat in front of you and pull out something that looks like this. It's a black kind of, it's a rectangle. That's what this is, Geometry 101. It's a rectangle card. At the top of it, it says, the best of the summit. I want everyone to take this home with you and spend some time looking through it. Every year we kind of do something like this. This got to be my favorite one we've done yet. I may say this every year, but I expect to say it again next year. I really am excited to show you guys just a snapshot of some of the things that God has been doing in the last year here at the Summit. We're a large church, and there's all kinds of things going on, all kinds of moving parts and moving pieces at all times. And so sometimes it's easy to get lost in the crowd, and you don't get to see everything. So this is not everything. This is just a snapshot of some of the things that we've experienced as a church in the past year. Now, I want to highlight two things, right? Two things that jump out at me. Over 9,100 meals have been served in the last year by our volunteers through our church. We provide the meals. You guys have been serving the meals in the triad to homeless and those that are less fortunate. Isn't that great? 9,100 meals, that's a lot of meals that have been served by you guys. I'm so honored to be a part of a church that's at work like that in the community. And right beside it, over $90,000 has been invested into our local schools. I mean, about 20 years ago, local churches started walking away from local schools. About 20, 25 years ago, and it's a shame. I am so excited to be a part of a local church full of volunteers and people where we're not walking away from the schools, we're walking to the schools, and we're encouraging the schools, and we're doing everything we can, and it's not just a God bless you, we're putting money behind it and investment behind it, and that means so much to the community. And I believe it means so much to God. That's the kind of stuff Jesus would do if he were here, and that's why he put us here to do it in his name. So isn't that great just to be a part of stuff like that? And man, if you're looking at this going, man, this is awesome. I had no idea. Man, I would love to be a part of this. Well, this time of year, a lot of times we get people asking us, hey, how can we donate? How can we be a part of this financially? Flip it over on the other side, and you'll see all that information. If you are at a place where I'd love to give and be a part of this gives you all the information you need to know. If you're looking to make a tax deductible year-end donation for 2019, since at the end of the tax year coming up, this is how you do it. All the information's right there. You can let us know if you have any questions. But when you give, just know, turn it back over to that black side again, and it's all black. This is what happens when people give. These kinds of things and so much more. So thank you for giving. We haven't even scratched the surface to what God's going to do in the next year. And this is just a teaser. It's just a highlight. Thanks so much for being here. Stay dry, stay warm. We'll see you next week. Bye.